We are live. We are live. Hello, everybody.
Howdy.
Hello.
Chris Villegas is live now.
.com.
Let me turn you down here so I don't hear a
Echo.
echo.
When you do a watch party thing, Steven,
Mm-hmm.
do you... Never mind. I found it.
Yeah, just hit share,
Yeah.
like by the comment, and then
Test these 1, 2, and 3. Who is that already?
Steven Eford. Good old buddy Steven.
Which one?
Testes.
Is he calling us testes? Like,
I mean, definitely talking about the bulls.
Doubles.
Okay.
All right.
Countdown time, and then we'll get into it.
Sounds good.
Hello. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us in the year 2021. We're about to get the show rolling, so here we go. And again, here another.
I mean, I thought, are we not already rolling?
No. I haven't done the official
start. Okay, I was just checking.
Official start. And
I was like, what the hell are we doing right now?
I don't understand. Yeah, I had to clear that off before we started. See, because he's talking about Beavis and Butthead. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Screen Addicts podcast. Again, thank you for joining us for our first show of 2021. I, as always, am one of your hosts, Chris. I don't have a cool nickname like these two guys, Villegas.
I am New Year's Steve Sosa.
I am Jeremy the Movie Man.
Movie Man Marsh. Back in 2021.
Hey, so we made it through 2020. The Screen Addicts podcast made it through 2020. How do you guys feel?
We shall persevere through anything, Capitan.
I mean, if we can survive shitty movies, we can survive anything, right?
Well, it's funny you say that because I wasn't even thinking about doing a potential top 10 of 2020 because I don't even know what that list would even be comprised of at this point. I mean, there were some good movies, but none that were, worthy of like best picture of the year.
I mean, but there has to be something out there. I mean, the Academy's picking something, right?
I guess so. Well, it's like what me and Jeremy were talking about the other day. I said, a couple of years ago, they were full out admitting that anything being streamed was never going to be nominated for Best Picture because they didn't consider that as cinema. It has to be in the theaters for it to qualify for some reason, which, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But, with Roma, it kind of set a new precedent because Roma was one of the first movies to be nominated for Best Picture, and it was a Netflix only release. Like, I don't even think it was released in theaters, and if it was only to like a few in New York and California, just to say, like The Irishman, to say it had a theatrical run.
I think they did that, a very limited release, just to say, hey, we were in theaters.
So I guess at this point, man, it's just going to be a bunch of streamed movies. I mean, it has to be.
Hey, and there's been some really good streamed movies, though. To me, at least, like I can count on two fingers how many good streamed movies there were. So it's okay. I mean, we will.
Well, if you think about it, there were actually quite a few that were pretty good.
Yeah. they were good, but nothing that had that, that winter Christmas season, the true dramatic films that really contend for the best picture. Yeah, there were a couple, but not a lot.
Spike Lee's The Five Bloods.
I mean, yeah, there's stuff like that would be in strong consideration, and it probably will be. I heard that that Ma Rainey's movie was really good on Prime, and that's one that would probably be in consideration. There's actually a bunch that I still haven't even seen yet, too, because I don't know. I guess it's just the availability of it, and some of the Prime Cinema movies. I was just like, I don't know if I want to pay $20 to watch this right off the bat.
Yeah,
but
well, we will. We'll definitely be talking about it because what is it here within the month or so that they'll release the nominees
Well, the Golden Globes always come first, and they're in January. So I'm actually surprised that there hasn't been any kind of mention of the Golden Globes as far as nominations go, because I haven't heard anything about it. I know that they announced that the Grammys were canceled. The Grammy ceremony is canceled, and I don't know if they're going to do something with it. But I don't
understand why they haven't done, or why they're not going to do it like they've been doing all the other music awards.
Right, or even the Emmys. I think the Emmys were the most effective as far as what you can do with a pandemic broadcast, and everything was remote. Everything, even the hosts were in their own confined room doing their shtick, and I thought it worked pretty well as far as the situation as it is.
We'll see, but definitely once those movies start getting rolled out and talked about, we'll definitely be talking about them. But until then, we're going to go into our first segment, as we always do, our recently watched. And Jeremy, you said your list is short and sweet, so let's hear it, buddy. What do you got?
Okay, well, since we're going to be talking about it later, I watched Wonder Woman 84, of course. And I also watched George Clooney's new Netflix movie he made and directed, starred in, I guess, produced, The Midnight Sky.
See, you even talking about
and if you're sleepy,
don't
put you right to sleep, because that movie is boring, and that's all I got for that.
And you watched the Cowboys lose and miss the playoffs.
I'm not even upset about that. It was just kind of like an expectation, but coming towards the end of the season. But
I'm glad the Giants ended their pain at noon instead of them winning and having to wait all damn night to see the Washington football team win.
That's so crazy. The team with no name is in the playoffs. It's just so funny. As far as like the Midnight Sky, though, Jeremy, I actually really, really liked it. I love the ending. The ending was a nice twist too that I wasn't expecting. And
that's the thing. If you fall asleep halfway through, the ending don't make
shit. You have to stop it and then go back to the point that you remember. Because we do that a lot anyway. We'll be watching a show or a movie, and we know that we're going out. We'll either pause it or just kind of power through and then end up falling asleep for the rest of the film or show. But we always have to like go back to that point. I'm like, okay, I remembered it from here. Where did you remember it from? And it's like, okay, we'll go from here. But yeah, The Midnight Sky was definitely not in one sitting for me either. It took me like I think 2 or 3 sittings to get through it because it's not a particularly long movie. I don't even
it's
think
only
it crosses maybe
it's right at 2 hours. If that.
Yeah, if it crosses that threshold, I would be surprised. It's just the pacing of it is so slow. It was very much like Ad Astra with Brad Pitt. You know, the movie looks like a big action space movie, but then when you watch it, there's like 2 sequences of action, and the rest is just him floating in space. And I thought much like Solaris. You remember when we saw Solaris back in 2002? George Clooney as well, and I thought, okay, and Soderbergh was doing that, so we're like, whoa, you know, he's reuniting with Ocean's 11, Soderbergh in space, like this is gonna be amazing. I don't even think there's an action sequence in that movie. It's just him like seeing his wife or fiance or what, I don't even remember, but man, that was so boring, just brutal. And Clooney makes movies like that too. He just I don't know if he feels like him and his presence is what is driving some of these movies. Like, what's that one, The American, when he was the spy or the assassin or something like that in the movie The American, he plays an assassin, and I'm thinking, okay, so he's like a Jason Bourne-esque assassin. No, he barely like killed 2 or 3 people. It's like a kind of like a love story. So I'm thinking, okay, so Clooney isn't the go-to guy for high octane thrills here, but I don't know. It does. The Midnight Sky does have Kyle Chandler, so I can't hate on any movie that has my beloved Coach Taylor in it. So.
I kind of figured when I saw him, I knew you would like it.
Yeah. And Damien Bichir, who was in A Better Life. I love that guy, man. I love that movie. So again, great cast. Just
great cast.
Slow pace,
boring as hell.
Yeah.
And finally, for some reason, Showtime played Batman 1 through 4 back to back the other day. I don't know why they did it, but they did it. Tim Burton's 2, and then they go right into Schumacher's 2.
Shoo me.
The first 2 hold up, then you see the cliff approaching, and then it just voluntarily jumps off the cliff and goes splat. So,
but he has those sweet silver wings. Dude, unpopular opinion. I don't know how unpopular this opinion is, but I like Batman Forever. I think Batman Forever is really good. And I think it's also because it's not full Schumacher camp like Batman and Robin was. It was kind of like you can see it progressing to that. It was like a movie that was a mix of Burton's dark kind of gothic perspective and Schumacher's Batman and Robin just campy paint ball.
That little bit of Burton still there.
So it still maintained its quality of both, and I think that's why it works so well. But yeah, Batman and Robin, you know, the Bat card does. Speaking of Clooney, here we are talking about George Clooney. Maybe that's why he doesn't do high octane action anymore, because you remember the last time he did, he was in Batman and Robin.
I don't think he's ever done a real big budget movie since then.
No, probably not.
It'll be
not like that. Not a superhero movie, that's for sure.
No. Anyways, all right, Jerm. Good list, man. Especially the way you ended it.
That's all I got.
Whenever you end it with bat nipples, it's always good.
Delicious.
That's right.
Like the milk that rubber.
All right. My list. I got a list. I showed y'all.
Hey, maybe I should go because I don't have that much, Chris. And you can end it since you have the long one. Yeah.
All right. Do it to it, then, man.
My thing was that we were watching a lot of stuff. Schitt's Creek pretty much was what we had been watching, and we're still watching it. We're down to the last 2 seasons, and like I said before, it very much proves that it's one of the funniest comedies to come out in a really long time. And man, I had all these other movies that I've been watching, but it's a lot of the same things that I've been keeping up with. Like I got back into X-Files, watching a couple of those. Me and Connor watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. There's 7 seasons of that. I didn't realize how long it was, but it's funny and it goes by. We did watch a couple of new movies that, aside from the ones that we'll talk about later, one was called The Kid Detective, and this one stars Adam Brody, right? And it was really, really good. Sonia loves him, so I knew all I had to do was just say, "Oh, Adam Brody's in this movie," and she would watch it. So, Seth Cohen. So basically, when he was a little kid, he was this little kid detective, and he was solving all these little mysteries around school. And when he was like 12, 13 years old, right? So he became this little sleuth at an early age, but it's real like heartwarming Archie type stuff, like real wholesome stuff. Like who stole the cookie from, just stuff like that. Well, he's approached at that age to find a girl that goes missing. So it becomes like really serious for him, and he can't continue on with the case because it's a real serious case, and he feels like a letdown. So as he gets older, he becomes a private detective, kind of in line with that, but he's solving like more adult type cases now, obviously, because he's an adult, and he's just so messed up. Like he's an alcoholic, and he's just all messed up. But it's kind of a dark comedy in certain aspects. And this girl approaches him because her boyfriend was killed and murdered, and she wants him to find the murderer. And he's like, yeah, I don't really do that kind of detective work, because the last time he tried a murder case or a missing kidnapping, it was that little girl when he was in school. But it was actually really, really good, man. It was a nice twist ending too. I was like, holy crap, I didn't see that coming. And it was a nice departure for him as far as his character goes, because he wasn't so like, I'm Seth Cohen, I'm such a nerd from OC. He was actually really good at that. And we watched this movie with Kevin Costner and Diane Lane called Let Him Go. Oh my gosh, really good stuff. It was like it's kind of like a contemporary Western as well. I was like, oh, so this is basically like Yellowstone, A.1, if you will. But it's set in the 60s, like 1965. And their son and him, he was working on the ranch. His son dies. He falls off his horse and he dies and breaks his neck. So his son just got married and they had a baby together. So she, about 5 years later, she meets this guy, and this guy is like part of this like really trashy redneck, wonderful whites of West Virginia type of family, right? So they basically want the daughter and the grandson to move them back to their, like ranch and stuff. And then of course Kevin Costner and Diane Lane, they're like, well, that's our grandchild. We want to see our grandchild. And dude, it's pretty exciting. It's the exact opposite of The Midnight Sky, if you will, because man, when the not action sequences, but the drama increases in that movie, man, it goes for it. But I highly recommend Let Him Go, because it was actually a really, really good movie. Yeah, man, that's about it. I'll let you take it from here, Chris.
All right. My list is a Steven-esque list. So.
Yeah, we swapped. See, this new year. Did. Oh, that reminds me. I saw that Freaky, Jeremy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What'd you think?
I loved it, man. I loved it.
It's awesome, isn't it?
So funny. And I was like, this kind of has like a Happy Death Day feel to it. And I was like, who directed this? And it was the director of Happy Death Day. But yeah, I loved it. And for horror fans, the gore was like brutal, dude. Like it was comically brutal. And I don't know. I really like that. I don't know why that clicked in my head, but sorry, Chris. Now I'm done.
Oh, you're good. All right. Some of this stuff you're gonna wish I didn't talk about, or I'm gonna wish I didn't talk about, but here goes. So starting off, we've taken a little hiatus from the show because of the holidays and stuff. So one of the shows that we did watch during Christmas was it was a Christmas movie, and it was kind of rough, dude. Ain't gonna lie, it was a Netflix original called The Holiday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, is correct.
Not good.
dude, it's good if you like that cheesy rom-com type of film. That Steven, yeah, it's right up your alley, man.
Perfect. That guy.
Yeah. Emma Roberts is in it as the main character. Luke Bracey. Kristen Chenoweth is in this movie. And let me tell you, Kristen Chenoweth looks so freaking old. Like, I'm just like, wow, you're like, just hang it up, sister. It's done. But all in all, it's a decent chick flick rom-com holiday Christmas movie. It has everything you'd expect in a movie like that. So watch that. Then during the break, I got Tasha into watching some of the DC films on HBO Max. First, we started with the Justice League.
What?
Yeah, dude. And so she actually sat and watched it. She goes, you know what? I could probably get into this. She goes, the more she watched it, the more she was more interested into the backstory of Superman and Lois. Mm-hmm. So that led me to, okay, well, we need to watch the Superman movies.
Right.
So we watched the Superman movies. And she was all like,
"You took her down a rabbit hole."
I sure in the hell did, and I couldn't be more happy.
You mean like Christopher Reeve Superman, or just
no, Man of Steel?
Oh, okay.
Because
you should have went all the way, dog.
I'm making sure she likes this first, and then we'll dive deeper.
Fair enough.
So after the Man of Steel, then we went Aquaman because the shirtless man.
Momoa.
Momoa. She didn't dig that one too much. She fell asleep during that one. But
she didn't dig the shirtless Momoa?
I mean, that's what she loved, that whole shirtless parts, but that was about it.
You should have just stood up right by the TV and taken your shirt off, Chris, and just showed her what was up,
There you go.
She wanted to see Aquaman, not Floppa Man. So, anyway, then we got into what we're going to talk about later, the new Wonder Woman movie. And then we circled back to an older movie. We watched, on her Tasha's recommendation, we watched The Tax Collector.
Oh.
And, I know Jeremy talked about this a couple weeks back, and he had watched it. I didn't think it was that bad. It had
a lot better.
It could have been, but going into it, Shia LaBeouf, like, I don't expect much, So I went in there like, all right, I'm not expecting the roof. I'm expecting like mid, and that's what I got. And it's not bad. There was some good action in it. There was some really, really good action scenes. The way they filmed some of them were really, really cool. I was like, man, they did a slow pan on some gunfight and some stuff. I was like, wow, that is really cool. So
David Ayer knows how to do an action set piece. He's good.
Oh, yeah. And he did, like I said, a couple of these action scenes were really, really good. And the woman that's the bad girl in this movie, she's a bitch, dude. And I loved every second of it.
Yeah.
Like, she just in there messing people up left and right. It was really cool.
You know what I think is wrong with a movie like that is Shia LaBeouf as this badass dude. I just don't buy him as that. I don't buy him as anything as far as someone that needs to be intimidating or masculine in any shape whatsoever. And that starts with like Indiana Jones when they were trying to basically hand the reins to him as Indiana Jones' son, and he's this like tough guy greaser, and I'm like, no holes, you are not a tough guy. But casting him in something like Transformers or Disturbia, yeah, I buy that. And
see, his character name in this movie didn't help a lot of that either, because his character name was Creeper,
right?
And I'm just like,
method acting he's been doing lately, like that full chest piece tattoo he got for that movie.
Stupid.
Oh, dude.
That's so stupid.
I mean, but given this, guys, though, like tattoo removal has gotten way better these days.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's gonna bother me.
Have you seen that piece that's on his chest?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can't remove that.
I mean, you can, but it will take a really long time.
Yeah. So, okay, moving on from that. Hey, and George Lopez was good in that movie. Let me say that too.
Mm-hmm.
Different type of role for him as well.
Oh yeah,
he did really good. Okay, then we went on. We watched Enola Holmes. And I tell you, I was very surprised on how good that was. I wasn't expecting it to be that great, but you throw in 11, and her name is so funny to me, Millie Bobby Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't take her serious when I have to call her Millie Bobby Brown.
She sounds like she should be from like South Alabama or something,
right?
Like Kentuckian.
And Henry Cavill is Sherlock Holmes. I didn't buy that as much either.
Really?
Yeah, it was weird. Although he wasn't even in the movie that much.
Yeah, that's true.
Like he was just sprinkled here and there. So, but it was so funny. That movie was hilarious, and me and Tasha both liked it. So, if you haven't watched that one, definitely watch that one. It's pretty good.
I think they signed Millie Bobby Brown to a 4 or 5 picture deal
because that's a book series, right?
Yeah, well, not just a 4 or 5 picture deal for that particular character, but just in general. So I'm sure they'll make another one of those, and just basically because she's 11 in Stranger Things, and they really wanted her to lock her down. So I think she, aside from that Godzilla movie she did, I think she's pretty much exclusive to Netflix at this point.
Which I think Enola Holmes even was regarded as a really good movie. So
yeah, it had a nice reception, and there were a lot of streams for it. So yeah, they'll probably definitely make another one if you, like you said, if there's more books to work off of.
Yeah. And then we switched over and we watched on Disney. We watched Soul.
Oh man, I still haven't seen it yet. How was it?
Dude, it's a Pixar movie, man. It's good.
Yeah,
like they hardly ever miss. And this one was another good one.
So you're saying it's so good?
Wow.
New Year, same jokes.
Yep.
No, but I mean, like you said, it's Pixar, so it's like, how could it not be good?
And the whole storyline of Soul is just it sucks you in, and you want to know, and it does what Pixar does, and it leaves the ending open and enough to you where you're like, damn it, tell me more, and which will be Soul 2 probably,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely if you haven't seen Soul, it's a great movie. I've seen it multiple times. The boys liked it. Tasha didn't like it so much, but Tasha's a weird entity when it comes to cartoon movies.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then switching over to my TV, we're still watching Veronica Mars. That is a long ass show, dude.
And you have to add in the new movie and then the new season that they did for it too.
Yeah, so it's like, damn, but it's still pretty good. And it's funny because it's almost along the same lines of that movie that show that you were watching, Steven, where the young kid tries to solve the grown-up murders and stuff like that.
Oh, the Kid Detective. Yeah.
So it plays along the same lines, which is pretty cool. So we're still on that. I am now on season 3, episode 10 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Trucking along quite well on that.
Indeed, you are, sir.
Season 3, dude, has been the best so far, though. I really liked it. I likes it. It really scared me when I thought Cordelia died. But that's what Xander and Willow get for kissing them bastards. I don't like them together. Dude.
I don't either. Like I can't stand Xander. There's no secret there. I never liked nerd, but the dude's with Cordelia Chase, right?
Right.
How do you mess that up? I just don't. I don't get it.
But
you get it, Jeremy.
That's exactly his take on it.
Yeah, he's like.
So, I'll link this group that I became a part of on Facebook. It's a Buffy the Vampire Slayer Facebook group. Okay, and
hey, you might be careful with that, Chris, because you could get spoilers.
Dude, spoilers like a mother, real bad. So I had to back out. But before I backed out of that group, I had posted on there, first time watcher, really digging the series so far. It is crazy how many people have commented and liked on that post. There's over like 500 likes on that post. And people saying, "Oh, you're so lucky! I wish I could watch it for the first time again." This and that, and a bunch of them were telling me, "Leave this group because it's going to spoil it for you, and we don't want to spoil it."
Now. We like you. Welcome. Now get the hell out of here.
Yeah, pretty much. Which is this says something for the fan base of that show. It's crazy. Like,
well, dude, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things in the series that are genuinely surprising because of some of the risks that they take with some of the characters. And like you saw what happened with Miss Calendar in season 2, dude, that's just the start of it, man. There's a reason why Joss Whedon got this reputation of taking crazy risk with some of his main characters. And man, I can like think of 5 like already from season 3 on to the end of the show, like 5 big ones, and it's just like holy shit. And that's a good point. I'm glad that they were honest with you, because it's like I even said, I was like, dude, get out of there, because there are memes and all this stuff that they share in those groups. But that's awesome though.
Yeah, so
you didn't tell them that you'd never heard of the movie before, did you?
Oh no, I'm sure I would have got reamed in that.
they would have kicked you out on
they wouldn't have let you back in.
Probably not.
Right. Yeah, he requests to join. They're like, "Oh, this is the bastard that never even heard of the movie." Declined.
And I even plugged our podcast, so maybe we'll get some new listeners. We'll see.
Sure.
And then the last thing that we watched, and we started it last night. We're only a couple episodes in, but it's really, really good, man. The Undoing.
That new movie, right?
It's a show.
It's a show.
Okay. It's Nicole Kidman and Hugh Grant.
Oh, on HBO, right?
Yes.
Okay, I don't think it was like a horror movie titled something like that. But I heard that was really good too.
Oh man, it sucked you in fast, and it's like
just how you like it, Chris.
Oh, I love it. It's almost along the lines of like Pretty Little Liars, kind of feel to it,
like a mystery, huh?
Yeah, and it's so good.
I heard a big spoiler for it too, listening to another podcast, and they basically talked about it, and then like off Jump Street, they tell you the ending of who's doing what, and I'm just like, well, I guess I don't have to watch that show now. That sucks.
No, watch it.
Seemed like it was interesting, but I guess I don't know how
it gets there. Like,
right.
That's, I don't know. We'll see. But The Undoing. If you have HBO Max, man, check that out. It's really, really good. And then I also just saw that HBO Max is now have every season of Gossip Girl, so I'm sure we'll be going down that road soon again.
XOXO.
Absolutely.
That's Jeremy's favorite show.
It is. Yeah. All right, but that's it for me, man. I've been busy with
man.
Screen.
The holiday weeks were good for you as far as your television goes.
Sure was. All right, Jerome, the headline master.
All right. Well, I don't got many. It's been kind of light lately. But I did find a couple. And this first one I'm going to start with because I found it interesting when I heard about it. And, I thought I would mention it. So here we go. Todd McFarlane, as everyone knows, is trying to get a new Spawn movie made. Well, the latest script he has written for it leaked to the internet. And no wonder why he can't get this damn movie made, because the script sounds like shit.
Yeah. Well, no one ever accused Todd McFarlane of being a great screenwriter,
And his insane demands that he must direct it is, I don't know, because he's never directed anything in his life.
I was about to say, how many directorial credits does he have? Zero?
Zero. And yeah, apparently Spawn has like 15 minutes of screen time in the whole movie, and all of his deaths are like, you don't even see him. He's like an ethereal fog that just shows up and then poof, gone. McFarlane said he wanted to make this kind of like a Jaws, that you never see the bad guy until the very end. But this is Spawn.
Yeah,
you don't do that with Spawn.
It's like making Superman without Superman and focusing on like Jimmy Olsen or something.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. And the only other headline I could scrounge up, we'll go ahead and pour some cold water on this Snyder Cut stuff right now. Because some higher ups at DC told the New York Times the other day, this Snyder Cut thing is a cul-de-sac that leads to nowhere.
I figured as much. I mean, because they keep talking about how it's going to lead into a new Batman series with Ben Affleck as Batman, and who was it? Jared Leto was coming back as the Joker, and just all this stuff. And it's to piggyback off of that news, they're also talking about Michael Keaton being the main focused Batman now that he's returned. And I'm thinking, I mean, well, that's cool, but he's a bit seasoned, and I think that if you're still within the Flash, the Ezra Miller Flash, that you could still have Ben Affleck as the main focus as Batman. But I mean, I don't know. And then they've got the Rob Pattinson thing where he's complaining about the suit, not wearing the suit, so he doesn't want to do reshoots. And I'm just thinking, why did you think you were coming on to do as Batman? You're like the biggest Batman ever, and you're proving everybody who had problems and doubts accurately. Although the trailer looked great, but it's just like, again, why are they making that Batman movie when they're already have these other Batmans going on? And it's just, I don't know. It's almost like that phrase, you can't have too much of a good thing. Well, I think in this case, it's getting a bit convoluted. So I don't know. There's just too much going on there. I think they should dial back a little bit, but.
And that's what it seems like it's about to happen. Everything is going to be just cut. And hopefully, we'll see how it all plays out once the Snyder Cut hits. Obviously, I mean, if everything just goes off perfectly and everybody loves it, then hey, maybe we will see some continuation of Snyder's variation of this universe. Hopefully, we do.
Well, hopefully his version will tie together some of the things that Wonder Woman 84 should have done. Because I mean, let's just get into it. We're already at 40. We got a lot to talk about. So Wonder Woman 84, fellas, You please go first. I have my thoughts.
I think I have the unpopular opinion on this. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, was it as good as the first one? Oh, hell no. But was it good enough to be the continuation of the story? I believe so. I liked the story that was told. It was, you know, her just still yearning for her place in the world, wanting to be, you know, wanting to be that person and wanting to have something that she couldn't, that she lost in the last movie. Like, it's just, to me, that brings the human out of her, you know. And I think that's what the biggest point of this movie was, is to show her more human side. Because, you know, spoilers, if you haven't seen Wonder Woman 84 yet, we're going to be talking about it, and we're probably going to spoil some stuff. So just put that out there real quick. But, you know, she wanted to be with Steve. Like, that was the main driving force to me in this movie. And it humanized Wonder Woman. And that's what it tied me into her a little bit more. Like, you are this amazing superhuman, this Wonder Woman, this badass that can fight, that can do this. But you know what? On top of all that, there's this other side that is human, and that you need this human part, and it sucks without it. So that's what brought me into the movie. And that's why I like it, because it did humanize her, and that's what I'm taking from it. So,
Jerome,
here we go. It was 2.5 hours long. That's too damn long for this movie.
Yeah.
The opening half hour was ridiculous. The opening scene on Themyscira was great. That was the best part of that entire 2.5 hours.
Wow.
Then they go to the damn mall. That is not a mall from 1984.
It's a mall rat.
So your first and biggest complaint about this movie is the mall.
Oh,
how many malls have you seen?
He started with like the first scene. I think he's got a lot. You better go, Jerry. You better go fast.
That's just the start. We go to a 90s mall that's not even close to 1984. Then the entire plot is about this rock you cast a wish on.
It's a wishing stone, Jeremy.
Oh my God. Really? This was the best they could do.
Man, Aladdin's about a lamp. Come on.
This movie is why Patty Jenkins should not be writing scripts, and Jeff Johns should not be writing scripts.
I don't blame Patty Jenkins for the script. She wrote the first one. I blame Jeff Johns.
No, she didn't.
Are you sure?
No, she didn't co-write the first one.
Oh,
she just came on and replaced the first director that left.
Mm-hmm. Well, and they signed her up for a third one, so that should be interesting. But all right, go ahead, Jeremy. What else you got?
It was just too damn long. The Max Lord plot was the cheetah thing was cool, I guess. There was some cool things, but overall, it was too damn long, and they probably could have cut a good half hour out of that movie, and it would have been better.
Yeah. Okay, here I go. I definitely had a bit of blinders on whenever I first started watching, because, hey, you're getting to watch Wonder Woman 84 at home the day of its release. It's pretty cool. But then I made the mistake of thinking about it more and more after it was over. And while some of the things were a bit interesting watching it. I was just thinking, okay, overall, and like, yeah, this is spoiler territory, of course. So my thoughts were nitpicking of a couple of little things, and one of those things was to start Wonder Woman 84. There was no significance with the date, none. So none. They use that to no advantage, except for maybe a couple of costume changes for Steve Trevor, and I was like, okay, that's funny.
Fanny pack. Highlighted it by fanny pack.
I thought that was a 90s thing too, because I remember having a 90s fanny pack, and much like the mall scenario, I thought, okay, that's cool, but other than that, there was zero relevance to the year, and I thought, well, what's the point? There was no, like, you could have had so much great music, a lot more.
Where the hell was the 80s music?
Right. They didn't lean into that enough for me to use it as a title for the movie. You know, there was no significance with the date. That was a problem for me. Gal Gadot's great. I think she was great in this one too. There's no way that she is not a good Wonder Woman. I think she's a great Wonder Woman. And I think a lot of that helps this movie is her charisma as that character. But my thing about Steve Trevor's return was that in the comics, Aphrodite brings him back to life. And so that was like one way that they did that. And I thought, well, Aphrodite's not a character in this movie, so they might be doing it another way. So, okay, so she uses the wishing rock to make him come back to life unintentionally. She didn't mean to make the wish, but she did. And so my thought was like, okay, Steve Trevor comes back and he is in the body of another man using him as a vessel. And I thought, well, this doesn't make sense. And it's really bizarre because then she's like, well, I only see you. Wrong. You're actually seeing the guy whose body he's in. They even like have sex, which is weird because she's like having sex with a stranger. But I thought that was kind of dumb because I'm thinking, well, if the wishing rock's granting wishes, they said that there's a repercussion and consequence for every wish that you make. So I thought, oh, okay, well, maybe that's the consequence, that she can't have Steve, 100%.
Actual Steve, yeah.
Right. So they have to have him as inside his soul inside this body. But then she starts losing her powers as a consequence. I'm thinking, so what's the point? It's a wishing rock. He can come back to life. And as you see, Max Lord gets his hands on it. He becomes the wishing stone, and all hell breaks loose because everybody's making wishes. And it's just like, okay, so everyone has consequences. And then the Barbara thing. I love Kristen Wiig. I think she's great. And I actually thought she's pretty good in this too. Her transition from kind of nebbish, and that's like such a Hollywood trope. Like, oh, her hair is crimped and she's got glasses on. She's a total loser that nobody would like just because of those like nitpicky things. It's like the She's All That equivalent, it's like,
oh, absolutely.
Rachel Lee Cook's wearing glasses and she's such a freak and nerd. I'm like, I'm sorry, I thought she looked better with the glasses and suspenders.
So we'll get more viewers if all three of us take off our glasses.
I know, right? We'll look like three different guys whenever we do that. It's like a
damn, I can't see anymore.
I know, take them off. I gotta put them on, then we'll be able to see y'all. But that was odd, and I don't know. There was just, and then like Steve Trevor being shocked by fireworks. I thought, fireworks have been around for centuries. Like the Chinese invented them in like 480 AD, and he's like, "Ooh, what's that?" I'm like, "They're freaking fireworks, bro. You've seen them." And not only does
this dude fly a plane in the war,
he's like, "Oh, let's go through them." These like air turbine gasoline engines through this. I mean, it's just dumb stuff like that. And then, of course, the flying scene has been something of controversy for people. And
the invisible jet.
I thought that was cool, to be honest.
I like how they introduced that.
I did too. It was very like modern in a kind of a more updated way. I liked how they did that because, I mean, she did have an invisible jet. Like to disregard that would almost be a bad thing. So I kind of liked how they did that. And
but does Wonder Woman in the comics have those specific powers she displayed to make that jet invisible?
Well, not necessarily, but the way that because like in the Linda Carter version, it's just it's built within the jet. Like it's a very technical process. So I think the way they did it here, like in a more organic fashion, I actually kind of liked it. It's like saying people like Tobey Maguire's web slingers because it's organic, and it makes sense because it never runs out. That argument can be made, but I thought that was interesting. But the flying scene, I thought, well, she's kind of more falling with style, like Buzz Lightyear, because she's going against the currents and moving against it, and they make a point to say you can fly if you want to, and then
you can't fly.
But I don't know. And it was and yes, and at 2.5 hours, she's Wonder Woman like maybe 3 times. That's not enough, man. That is definitely not enough. You could have definitely cut out some of the the Max Lord stuff, like granting wishes and all this stuff. You could have cut an easy 30 minutes out of that. You could have cut his whole character out for all that matter.
Yeah, because he just needs to stay in the Mandalorian.
Right. He was like the best and worst dad of 2020. But I don't know. I'm curious to see how the third one will end up, because it's like Iron Man. Iron Man 2 was shit, and Part 3 was great. I love Part 3. And the same thing with Thor. Thor is a great example of that. The Dark World sucked. It is so stupid. And the Dark Elves and all that stuff. But look at Ragnarok. Ragnarok turned out to be the best, one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best Marvel movies they've done. And
it's one of the best MCU movies.
But unfortunately for Wonder Woman in the DC cinematic universe, they have more misses than hits. And so this is a major step back for them. Whereas Marvel can have like a couple of duds here and there, because they will bounce back with like furious anger, and it's just like, oh gosh, what's coming up for DC next? It's which looks great.
This is where they need to write this shit, because yes, you can have a dud in the middle, but learn from it and get better with the next one. They don't seem to do that.
Yeah,
no,
they just want to do what they want to do. And it is proven time and time again, it does not work.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not the only ones that see it. Yeah. Everybody sees it, like, except them for some damn reason. So here's your chance. Here's your chance, DC, WB, right? Get the next one right. Make the next one the best one. It's going to be hard to beat the first one, but it can be done. Just do it right.
But the bar has been lowered drastically, so I think that anything that they can do at this point is to go up. But I'm just thinking, like, and then the way that literally everyone renounces their wishes, it was just, that was crazy. Oh, Steven Eford says Captain America is the first good Marvel movie. I'll say that. I love Captain America. But
they all suck at movies. Here's my thing too, okay? And Tasha brought this up while we were watching. During the movie, he had to touch them to make their wish. Like, he made an effort to grab the hand so they make their wish. When everybody's doing it, he's not touching that damn nobody.
Mm-hmm.
No,
like
that. Satellite broadcast or whatever apparently had something that
it was transmitting
every TV, and he could literally touch them through the signal.
He makes a point of saying that the radio waves of it were the radio waves of it were moving outwards, and that's what people were pulling in as they were listening. It's really stupid.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
That's why we don't really like catch on to that concept, but it was really dumb. And how it all ends was just like, you didn't give a shit about your kid this whole time, and now that you're an absolute power, like no one can rationalize with you, oh, I love my son again, and it's all over. Like, come on, like, that's so.
If and you're gonna be a bad guy, be a bad guy.
Right.
World, bro.
The lasso of truth was on him too, so that kind of like was a catalyst for that decision. But still,
and Diana's half-hearted speech there at the end. Okay, sure.
I mean, yeah, I was like, what are you talking about? And then, of course, everyone renounces their wish, and I was just thinking, Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think.
Yeah, no, that's not gonna happen.
I think if you would have confined it to a couple of people, like Barbara, Max, just a couple of people making wishes, I think that would have been a little bit more effective. And I did like that Barbara turned out that her cheetah was both of more of like the old Super Friends cheetah and the apex predator, if you will, like the like literal cheetah. I thought that was cool. I thought that was great. How oh gosh, and then the body armor, the body armor annoyed the hell out of me because it was one of those things where okay, she puts this on, she's gonna be a badass. She has her powers back at this point too.
Yeah,
like she announced her wish, so she absorbed her power and strength back. So she's got the body armor on, right? And Cheetah's just like tearing through it like nothing.
But yet it survived a whole army of men.
Right. That
yeah, weren't those wings supposed to be like impenetrable?
Right.
And Cheetah just destroyed them,
smashing through them like a cat with a yarn ball, man.
Yeah.
And then she throws them off, and I'm thinking, well, then what was the point of that? You could have just fought in your traditional garbs if that was, And they made a big deal of like putting that on. I thought she would be powerless, and that's why she would put on the suit to get that extra oomph, if you will. But I don't know. Ugh. It was okay. Just too long.
Definitely too long.
It was okay. That's all you can say about it. It was okay.
But moving on real quick, Pedro Pascal is having a year because he was in Wonder Woman, but he was in something else a little bit better than that this year. Chris, wouldn't you think?
Like if The Mandalorian could win every award for a TV show ever, it needs to.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
good.
hardly, if anything, that you could say bad about The Mandalorian, dude. Like it hits everything from A to Z perfectly.
It's so good.
Jeremy's demeanor just instantly changed in one sentence. But I think
it's so good.
Mandalorian was so crazy how starting pretty much, I mean, all of the episodes were great this season, but starting with that Ahsoka episode, you thought, how is it going to be better than this? Then you saw the next week's, then you saw the next week, and then you saw the finale, and you're like, holy crap, they literally got better and better and better, if that was even possible. And it gets just, it culminates again. Spoilers for The Mandalorian. Who hasn't seen it by now? I mean, come on. If you're a fan of it, you've seen it by now. But
at least and more than once too.
And I don't know about you guys, but I am, of course, a fan of the original trilogy. That's what I grew up watching, and I respond to that stuff more than anything. And of course, Master Jedi Luke was a big hero when I was a little kid. I thought he was awesome, and to see that again was just, man, people always criticize Disney for this and that, but when it comes to like production and stuff, they know exactly how to pull on heartstrings, man, because that was just something incredible. I never would have expected that in a million years. And then the very last episode, you have all of that stuff going on. There was so much in that last episode, and
so much in the last 10 minutes of that.
Right. Yeah, much less the whole thing. And just seeing him go through there with parallels to Darth Vader and Rogue One, I just thought, this is incredible. I cannot believe I'm watching this right now. And I don't know. But
that was the first time we have all seen Luke Skywalker as a real Jedi Master doing what the Jedi Masters did.
Sure, because if you think about Return of the Jedi, there were certain things in that where he didn't come off as this truly badass master Jedi just yet. I mean, yeah, he helped defeat Jabba, but he had help with it. He defeated Darth Vader, but everybody else was fighting, the Empire and stuff. But man, watching that, the same argument can be made about Darth Vader in Rogue One. We've never seen Darth Vader at his full badassery, just plowing through people. And I love how they made a point of showing those dark troopers as these I'm like, damn, these are like Terminators in space. These things are bad.
They were nothing.
He cut through them like Swiss cheese, man. Thought, holy crap. And I loved it so much. There was a funny meme about that where they were talking about Mark Hamill's CGI. And it was Joey Lomely, our friend Joey posted. He was just saying that he's like, y'all are criticizing Luke Skywalker CGI. Man, do you not remember The Rock in The Mummy Returns?
Is the Scorpion
King. Dude, that was horrible. That takes you right out of the movie. And The Mummy Returns is far-fetched as hell, as it should be. But man, when I saw that really just set it off. So I was like, yeah, and even I was kind of like, well, he looks kind of funny, but I know it's not him. But I'm okay with that. And the body double was a real person doing the fighting, so that's cool anyway. But I don't know, that whole season was just so great.
And it's kind of like the CGI Blade in Blade 2. He wasn't very good, but
yeah. Oh, when he's like flying around and stuff. Yeah, that was a little campy. Not in a good way.
Here's my question. I brought this up to y'all, and hopefully, I mean, obviously, it'll get explained later in this and that. But the biggest thing that I had a question from the end of The Mandalorian and the first of the newest Star Wars movies is, where the hell has Grogu been in these new Star Wars movies? Hopefully, like, in my mind, I'm like, okay, so Ben laid waste to all those people on that island, right? That he was training with. Does he kill Grogu? In I don't know. I mean, we'll find out. I hope not.
I don't think he kills Grogu, but I do think Grogu dies. I think he's dead or something bad happens, because what they like to do is they like to make sense of all this stuff. So I'm thinking, and Favreau knows like the new trilogy, he knows the old trilogy, like he's just so in tune with it. And I think that whenever he is, what he wants to do is tie in the Luke Skywalker from The Last Jedi. He wants to make sense of that, because a lot of people hated that. Me personally, I did not like that version of Luke Skywalker. And even I had to like rationalize certain things about it just to make it make sense. But I think what he's going to do is like something will happen with Grogu that puts him in that mentality of not wanting to be a Jedi anymore, not wanting to do that anymore. And that's what I think. I mean, because they're good about making sense of all this stuff.
Either scenario, Grogu dies, and I'm gonna cry like a bitch.
Yeah.
So will the rest of the world.
Sure.
So,
right. I see it as Grogu's already 50 years old. So he's been training as a Jedi for 40 years already. So by the time Ben Solo gets old enough to do what he does, Grogu's would be powerful enough to take care of him pretty easy. So I think Grogu's not going to spend much time with Luke and go off on his own.
Okay. But then we would have seen him in the new trilogy, though. I mean, that's kind of the argument.
Not necessarily. He could have only spent a handful of years with Luke, because this only takes place 5 years after Jedi. Force Awakens doesn't pick up till 25, 30 years later. So
pulls an Obi-Wan and just kind of bails.
Or even a Yoda and just goes and
goes and
planet and chills. Yeah.
Well, so I guess we're all in agreement that The Mandalorian was great.
Absolutely, and it sucks that we have to wait another year.
Yeah. Well, to close us out on one story, and Jeremy, I know you didn't watch it, but that's why we'll kind of keep it quick. But Cobra Kai, new season
never dies.
It never does. I'm glad.
I watched the thing covering the entire season, so I pretty much know.
It's fantastic. That whole season, I just thought, what else do they get to do? Oh, okay. And then there are things that are opening up. Oh my god, it's so good. Mr. Miyagi's letter, for one, dude, I wept. And Sonya and Connor like looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, I don't care. That was so sad. I absolutely love it.
I started the season because I had finally got Tasha into it. Mm-hmm. So for this past week, we were watching season 1 and season 2. Mm-hmm. Finally finished season 2. And she goes, hey, if you want to stay up and watch season 3, go ahead. I know you've been waiting. All right, cool. Dude, I stayed up till 4 a.m.
Yeah.
I finished season 3 in less than 24 hours. Mm-hmm. And it's so good. A lot of it given was very predictable.
Sure.
But that didn't take away from how great it was to me.
Yeah. And, some of it, like Sonya will criticize and say, that's so cheesy. I'm like, yeah, but that's what makes it good. Mm-hmm. I think that the cheese in this pizza is what makes it good. And I love it, man. It's fan service. It's a fan service show. Because if you're a fan of the Karate Kid movies, it literally gives you everything that you loved about those movies. And even more so as it goes along, like something else takes place. Like this season pretty much covered Karate Kid Part 2 with Okinawa and Kumiko and Chosen. All that stuff. So good, man. Just so good.
Dude, and then it's funny to me that this show pays more homage to the 80s than Wonder Woman 84 did.
Dude, and it's set in 2020.
Yes.
Crazy how it's so effective at doing that too. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and like the music. Yeah, they use more 80s music in this 2021 series than Wonder Woman 84 did. I think that's hilarious. But yeah, and then of course the I won't give any spoilers because people are probably still watching it. And but like where it's leading next season, it's looking like a return to Karate Kid Part 3, which people don't like it. I love Part 3. I think Part 3 is great. And I love Terry Silver. I like Mike Barnes. So if they can somehow work
they're coming back, dude.
Yeah, like, Terry Silver, sure. I'll tell you that much right now. He's And Mike Barnes, they interviewed Sean Kanan, and he said, yeah, they haven't approached me about it. I would love to do it. So I'm like, well, get the man in there,
But see, that's the thing. That's the same way the lady that comes in at the end was like, she was all, I'd love to do it, but it took him this long to call me to come do it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's going to be the same route. Like they're just laying their shit out first, making sure everything's going to be right. Then, okay, this is where we're going to plug you in. Be ready.
Sure.
So.
All right. But yeah, everyone, if you haven't watched it yet, watch Cobra Kai, all 3 seasons on Netflix. Easy watch. Oh, and to give a special shout out to our buddy Peter Podstock. He has a podcast called Cobra Kai Companion. If you're a fan of the show and would like to hear more insights and behind the scenes, and he actually gets great interviews with cast members of the show.
Absolutely. So his next interview, I think, is with Hawk.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And that's coming up here within the next week or so.
And he had a great story arc this season. So there's plenty to talk about with him. So yeah, check out Cobra Kai Companion, man. It's really good.
I'll put the link to his show at the bottom of this.
Sure.
So I can find it easy for him. Peter's such a good dude, and we've seen him before his Cobra Kai podcast, and he's just blown up, and it's so awesome to see. So, yeah. All right, but I think that does it for tonight for us, fellas. Do y'all have anything to close out on?
No, man. May this year be better than the last. Counting Crows.
Oh yeah, don't forget, add Nick Cage's new docuseries on Netflix to your queue, The History of Swear Words.
I did that tonight. It's already open. It's out there. It's out there to watch.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
I was gonna start it.
So I'm saving this for the last. because it's going to close us out, but I did watch the Netflix docu-comedy Death to 2020.
How was that?
It's freaking hilarious, man. If you want to relive all the shit that we went through and have fun and laugh about it, watch Death to 2020 on Netflix. It's freaking hilarious.
That didn't look like a selling point to Jeremy. He was like, I want to get past this as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
But see, Jeremy, the thing is they make fun of all the stupid shit that went on, dude.
Okay, so, good.
It's funny, and the people that they have playing, like some of the doctors, like Hugh Grant is a historian.
And, well, that'll work.
And most of his history that he brings up is like Game of Thrones shit. It's funny, man. It's definitely a quick little watch too. So watch it's just funny. But guys, thanks for joining us again for our first show of 2021. We really appreciate it. Really can't believe we made it this long. I think this is going on 6 years for the podcast, and
wow,
man, it's been a fun ride, and we look to continue. We don't none of us seem to want to stop at all. So, great thing for all of our listeners and my wife that loves to listen to me and eat donuts while she's watching me right now. Love you.
She's probably gonna throw a donut.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I'm waiting for a donut to land in his face.
Yeah. I just got flipped off. Okay. Anyway, Steven cut all this out. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you know I will.
Anyways, guys, thank you again for joining us for the first show of 2021. And since you're here already, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, so you're notified every time that a new show is put out. It'll notify you. So wherever you're listening to us, whether it is Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, we're everywhere. We are anywhere you want to listen to a podcast. The Screen Addicts are there. So
I also filed a request to be on Amazon Podcasts, so be looking for that too.
Cool. Yes. So definitely, guys, thank you so much. And please, if you can, go ahead and leave a review for the show. 5 stars, if you will. It just helps us get seen in the searches a little bit more. And then also go ahead and follow us on all of our social medias where you're watching us right now, hopefully. On Facebook Live, we love, if anything came out of 2020, we have loved to do this live. And we have so loved being able to see each other finally doing the show. And it has been a blast to finally get to look at your beautiful faces, fellas. Well, maybe just Jeremy's.
Yeah.
But follow us there. All you have to do on either Instagram or Facebook, just search the Screen Addicts Podcast and follow us. And on Facebook as well, go ahead and get into our group. It's called the Screen Addicts Fanatics. Just request to be in that group. We'll get you in there. And that's really where we are the most active, always dropping memes and trailers and movie news and all sorts of stuff. That's where we want to engage with you. So please find that group, join up, and have some fun with us. And then if you're on the Twitter machine, we have a Twitter celebrity among us. Jeremy, what is it, man? What's the handle?
Movie Man Marsh. Very simple.
Follow him, and his content's amazing, and all of his $2 million of worth of followers. He loves it. But if you're on Twitter, follow Jeremy and then find us. We're at the Screen_Addicts, and Addicts is spelled ADDICS, and follow us on there as well. Guys, thank you for joining us tonight again for our first show of 2021. But as for me, good night.
Adios, amigos, and Happy New Year.
good evening and Happy New Year.
Cheers.